So there's a meme or post, whatever it is, that came across my feed this morning, and I immediately shared it to my stories. And I thought, this is absolute rubbish. We need to be careful about how it is that we trust in these sorts of things. So what it said was, your nervous system measures trust by patterns, not promises. It doesn't believe in good intentions, it believes in repeated actions. And my first thought was, who says that our nervous system does that? You see, this is part of the insanity that is crept into the whole mental health space, the mainstream mental health discussions, is that everything now becomes a matter of science because we can only measure the physical, so we lose sight of the spiritual, the sentimental, the emotional, everything else. Because even though there's ample science, true, tested, peer reviewed science that contradicts all of these mainstream mental health theories that are going about these days. They conveniently ignore all of that because it's more convenient for us to be able to latch onto interpretations that abdicate our accountability, that give us a reason to say it's not our fault. I can't help it because my nervous system is doing this because of some past experience. So now I need to retrain my nervous system. Eh? You don't have to retrain your nervous system. Your nervous system is responding to you. Who are you? Have you lost sight of who you are? Because that's where we go wrong, right? The same source, and this is not about the person who posted it, right? Just to be clear, because the person who posted it is really just sincerely putting out content that they believe is going to be helpful to anyone struggling with mental health, right? So the same source then posted another one that I saw just a few minutes ago, which is why I decided to put this quick reel together, saying that when actions match words, our brain releases oxytocin and dopamine. This reinforces our bond, creates emotional safety, and cements our trust in them. Trust isn't just emotional, it's biological. What absolute rubbish. And I'm being very blatant and frank about this because it is absolute rubbish. Because look at the contradictions in both, right? In the first one, it says your nervous system measures trust by patterns, not promises. No, that's the simple difference between a once off ad hoc kind of promise made that was never followed through on versus consistency, which gains credibility, which is normal human behavior. So when I find reason to feel that someone is credible in the way they're showing up for me, then I can say, okay, this feels safe. It feels safe emotionally, mentally, intellectually, sentimentally, whatever you want to call it. It feels safe because there's consistency, there's credibility, and that's how trust is established. So it's not because my nervous system decided that it's trustworthy. No, my nervous system reacts to my emotional space and my mental space and everything else. I can talk myself into a stupor. I can talk myself into a stress state. Ask anyone else this. If you allow your thoughts to rabbit hole as much as you want recklessly without trying to restrain it at all, you'll get yourself into a complete tiz. It's possible. Why? Because your thoughts determine how your body reacts, not the other way around. You don't wake up in the morning without anything on your mind or any concerns about yesterday or any concerns about the day ahead. And your body decides, today I'm not going to cooperate with you. I want you to be anxious. What absolute rubbish. So in the second one, when actions match words, our brain releases oxytocin and dopamine. And there, here's how obvious it is, but we look past it because we're looking for something so meteoric in nature that it has to have some deep philosophical kind of insight that before we connect with it. Here's in that very first statement. Here's the clue of why it is that it's absolute rubbish. When actions match words, when actions match words. Why am I repeating that? Because that's the trigger. Sorry for using the word trigger because people are triggered with the word trigger. But that's the source. When actions match words, it gives us reason to believe that there's sincerity, that there's authenticity. So that's why we are inclined to trust. If that feeling of comfort, of trust, of consistency, of whatever it is that we take from that action matching words, if that feeling emotionally, mentally, intellectually, logically, we connect the dots and we say, hey, this feels good. then that causes oxytocin and dopamine levels to rise. Go and look at it. The science of neuroplasticity, the science of the smile, it all confirms that your brain reacts. Your brain does not precede the way you feel. Your brain reacts to how you feel. You know, I was thinking about this morning, and here's a simple analogy, or if you can call it an analogy or comparison, whatever it is. If we take the same logic and we apply it to earthquakes, then we're effectively saying that the Richter scale, you know, that device that's used to measure the intensity of an earthquake and the origin, that we effectively saying that that Richter scale is responsible for the earthquake. Seriously? We're now looking at what is the reaction to our emotional space, our conscious space, and we're saying that reaction to it is actually the reason for it. Come on. We're more intelligent than this. Critical thinking is lost because we feel so daunted, so threatened, and so critically afraid of what would happen if we're responsible for our own misery. Heaven forbid we should be responsible for making bad decisions in life. And that's why we find it so difficult to reconcile relationships and reconcile misunderstandings and things like that, is because we can't believe that we would have willfully and deliberately done something so horrible. And that's the point. We don't ever deliberately, intentionally set out to do something that is bad. We, even if we're doing something that we know is bad, our reason for doing it is because we believe it's justified because of some other good that we're trying to achieve, or some good that we're trying to reclaim because we think that's the balance of justice that we need to insist on. Can we please just be sensible? Let's be sensible. That's it. Not asking for people to go over the moon with philosophy and all of that. Just be sensible about what it is that's happening in your life. If you made a bad decision, understand why it wasn't possible for you to have made a better decision at the time. Because we learn from the consequence of the decision, we don't learn from the overthinking of the decision we need to make. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. We grow through understanding, not through rubbish theories about anatomy that is now supposedly responsible for the human experience. Humans have experienced life long before scientists got all of this over-diagnostic equipment of theirs that came along and told us that the Richter scale is responsible for earthquakes. And that's just an example. So I'm not saying that scientists are saying that it's true, but the same principle applies. If we're going to say that our body is responsible for the way we feel, it's the same as saying that the Richter scale is responsible for earthquakes. It's not. It's like saying that the rivers overflowing is the reason why it rained. Come on. Seriously. Make it make sense. When did we lose the plot so badly? When? When? I just don't get it. I honestly don't get it. Why is it that something as glaringly obvious as this escapes so many people? And there's only one answer I can come to. Victim mindset. If you're afraid of being a victim, then you have to believe that it's not your fault. You are a victim of something else. So you don't position yourself as a victim, as in being timid. It's that look at how much I'm dealing with, how my body is not cooperating with me, how my brain is making me struggle, but yet I'm still showing up. So look at how strong I am. Look at my resolve. Look at my resilience. No, come on, man. You're capable of more than that. You owe yourself more than that. We owe ourselves more commitment and conviction and meaningful effort towards understanding ourselves rather than constantly judging whether or not it's acceptable to take accountability for something, or how's it going to make us look and what are people going to think and all of that. Your body does not determine your emotional space. Your emotional space will bring duress on your body, and that's why the precursor to every single chronic illness, go and look at the medical journals, every single chronic illness, the precursor to it is stress. Stress is an emotional experience. It's not a biological experience. Thank you.